Whenever we assemble our instrument, it is always best to sit on the floor. I know you're going to want to sit in the chair to do this, but if you sit on the floor, when you drop your pieces, not if you drop your pieces, but when you drop your pieces, they don't have far to fall, which means they probably won't break. So everybody, let's go ahead and have a seat on the floor before we begin. Okay, so now that we are seated on the floor, let's go ahead and open our case. Everybody in here, your cases work pretty much the same way. The logo of your instrument should probably be on the top. Like mine, you can kind of see it in the leather here. But the best way to tell is that your latches, when you open them, they flip upwards, like towards that way. If they are going down like this, that means you've got it wrong, and if you open your case, then your clarinet will be upside down, okay? So what I'm gonna do is lay it flat on the ground like this. I'm going to flip up the latches and then open up my case, just like that. Everybody say ooh and ah. So before we learn how to put our instrument together, we're gonna talk about cork grease. I'm gonna show you how to apply this so that the cork on your instrument can last a lot longer. To put cork grease on your instrument, you want to get your tube of cork grease, and what you want to do is just take some out and just turn the wheel so that a little bit comes out, almost like chapstick, okay? Now, what you want to do is grab a cork or grab your instrument and then just smear it on like that, just like that. If it looks like a lot, it's okay, because whatever's left over you can use on the other corks. So I just like to smear it around like that, okay? And you see there's still some on my fingers, which is fine. So I'm just gonna stick it on the other cork. And apparently I used a lot because I still have some on my finger, which is totally cool because I can just continue putting it on the rest of the instrument, okay, including my mouthpiece. Now, once you are done, you need to make sure you wipe your fingers. There are two places to wipe your fingers, right? First place, best place is going to be your socks, because if you wipe it on your socks, your mama's not going to care because socks get dirty. But if you wipe it on your pants or your shirt, you're going to leave a giant grease stain, and I've ruined plenty of pairs of jeans by doing that. So don't do it on your clothes. Your mama's going to get really mad. If you don't have socks because you're wearing like chanclas or something, then the best place to do it, right, if nobody's looking, just wipe it on the carpet. Nobody will see. But I didn't tell you to do that. Is that understood? Cork grease should go on your instrument about every 1 to 2 weeks, depending on how much you assemble and disassemble your instrument. Whenever it gets hard to put together, you put cork grease on. That's a good rule of thumb. Not only that, if you don't put cork grease on, then basically what's going to happen is you're going to start wearing away this, and this will break. And when it breaks off, it's about $40 to repair. Now, if your cork comes off, please make sure you let us know, because I need to get that fixed before you start wearing down the actual wood. So don't do that, all right? So the first thing we do when we go to assemble our instrument is actually to take our reed and stick it in our mouth. Now, once our reed is in our mouth, we don't want to talk, because if you talk, your teeth can actually chip like the very, very fragile parts up here, okay? So what you want to do is grab it right here in this area that we call the bark and just pull it straight out like that. Now, before we stick this in our mouth, I want you to try to figure out how to put it back in. This actually takes a little bit of practice, so we're going to do it right now. To get it back in, you start with what I call the butt of the reed. Just think of this as a baby's butt, baby's head. Don't touch the head. The head is very, very, very fragile. So always touch the butt. I'm going to take the butt and I'm going to stick it in to right here, right into the little hole here that they have cut. And then I'm going to just slide this down and it'll go down. It's going to be hard at first for you to do, okay? But if you keep practicing it, it'll be good. Now, biggest reason why we start with the butt. Pay attention, please stop what you're doing. Reason why we start with the butt is if you start with the tip, this is what's going to happen. You're going to stick it in, someone's going to talk to you, and it's going to break. Or you're going to go too far, and it's going to hit this edge over here and break. Again, it's like a baby's head, the most fragile part of the reed. So start with the butt and squish it in like that. Practice that, about 3 or 4 times real quickly. Okay, so now we get to the fun part, which is assembling the first part of the clarinet. When we first start, I know you guys just want to put all of it together, but what we're actually going to start out with for a while is just going to be our mouthpiece and our barrel. Your mouthpiece should have a mouthpiece cap on it, and then you should have your ligature and your mouthpiece as well. And yes, mine is green tinted because I used the green spray to disinfect it, so that's why it's green. Yours probably isn't green. Anyways, you're going to grab your mouthpiece and your barrel, right? Go and leave the ligature on there, right? And you're just going to do small twists, just like this, and push together. So as you are twisting it, small twists, you're going to push it together like this. So again, push it together and small twists, just like that. Now comes the trickiest part, putting our reed on our mouthpiece and barrel, okay? You should look at your ligature, and the screws should be facing on your right hand side. That's the side that does not make the L, okay? If the screws are on the other side, okay, then you have got to turn it around. Every ligature that you guys have might be different. Some of you guys have it like mine, where the screw is on the like this, and this part of the ligatures are in the front. Some of you guys have it where it's like it looks like it's backwards. Okay, whatever happens, whatever your ligature looks like, the screws have to be on your right hand side. Go ahead and loosen it just a little bit so that you can actually move it up and down like so. That's going to help us, but don't take it completely off, okay? Just go and leave it like this, okay? Now, you're going to take your reed, okay, and you are going to slide this end right here. Watch, don't do it. Just watch me real quickly. You're going to take the butt end, and you're going to slide it between the mouthpiece and the ligature, not in the hole. And I repeat, not in the hole. All right, I know that one of you guys isn't paying attention. You can try to shove it in the hole, and if that happens, and well, if I was there, I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? But obviously, hopefully everybody's paying attention. So for me, what I'm gonna do is slide this up to where I can create a little hole between my mouthpiece and my ligature, just like that. And then I'm gonna slide this piece in between. Watch again, I'm gonna slide it in between. As I do this, I am not touching the tip of the reed. Again, that is the most fragile part. My hands are over here on the side and maybe to about the middle part here, but I never, ever, ever touch the top of the reed. Once it's in, I'm going to scoot it down like this, okay? And then I'm going to line up the tip of the reed with the tip of the mouthpiece, just like this, okay? Tip of the reed on the tip of the mouthpiece. Then I'm going to pull my ligature down. The ligature, okay, there's a line that goes all the way around your mouthpieces. And if you look, right, there's a line, a specific line that goes all the way around your mouthpieces. This ligature needs to sit right underneath that line. If you have it too far down, it's like a baby's diaper, right? The diapers are around the feet. It's not going to catch any poop. That's not going to be good. If you have it too far up, then you're like, basically you're putting a diaper on the baby's chest. Still not catching any poop. And the baby's going to be uncomfortable. Okay, so what you want to do is just put it right underneath that line. Hold it in place with this thumb and then tighten your screws. Yes, some of you guys have 2 screws. I only have 1 on mine because mine's a fancy ligature. But anyways, this is, go and tighten it with your right hand, okay? And then take a look at it. When you look at it, the tip of the reed should line up with the tip of the mouthpiece. All right, double check, have your teacher double check this to make sure you've done it correctly. One other thing you want to note is that down here at the bottom, you want to make sure that it's even on both sides of what we call the railing of the mouthpiece, okay? If it looks like this, okay, that obviously is not even. You can even see it's kind of crooked up here. Same thing with on that side right there, okay? You want it to be straight in the middle, and then your ligature holds it in place. Tighten, not too tight. Same thing like a baby diaper. Too loose, diaper falls off. Too tight, and you're choking your baby. So just tight enough to where it'll hold by itself, okay? I know that was a lot. Go ahead and practice that. So when you are done playing every day, what you want to do is you want to make a V with your fingers, You want to put the reed in between your fingers, and you want to wipe off the excess moisture, and then put it back in the case. Now, the reason why we do that is because if we don't do that, then things like mold and, well, other things kind of start appearing. There's this story about a young lady. Hold on, let me back up. Wasn't one of my students. It's actually a student of a friend of Mr. McPhail's. So if you think I'm lying, just ask him about the story and he'll tell you that it's actually true. But anyways, the story goes that the student was a great student who played really, really well. And then right before Christmas, her sound started getting really stuffy. I mean, the teacher couldn't figure out what it was. And so they have their Christmas concert, all that great stuff. The child leaves her instrument inside the band hall whenever, like for Christmas break and things like that. When they come back, she goes and puts her clarinet back together and all that great stuff. And she goes to go play, and obviously she puts her clarinet up to her mouth and she goes, no sound. No sound, right? And then on the third try, she did it, and it finally went, whoa, like that. And then she took the mouthpiece out of her mouth and looked at it, and a whole bunch of spider babies started crawling out all over the mouthpiece. And it's, again, didn't happen to one of my students, but it's a true story, and ask Mr. McPhail about it, because he knows the person that it happened to, okay? So, why do we always take our reed off when we're done? Because we don't want mold, first of all. And then secondly, we don't want spider babies, right?